Today, we finally have a classic market update again, and I can tell you this is quite important. I have taken a detailed look at the last few days. A Ripple lawsuit is being dropped, and it feels like nothing is happening on the chart because a 10 to 12% increase, we'll just leave it at that. Brad Garlinghouse has now mentioned that there are two factors that should make XRP explode. And of course, we'll also take a look at what's happening with Bitcoin right now. And why are we almost back in a complete downtrend? We'll look at all of this together, right? After the intro. Now new, UP Trend VIP Trading. Your opportunity to copy the signals of two profit traders for free. They managed to grow an account from $4,000 to $30,000 within 2 months. The results in the group are also impressive. All you need for this is a deposit of $100 into your BingX account. You can find all further information below in the description. Let's start with the first major news. Eric Trump becomes an advisor at Metaplanet. Now one might think, okay, Japan is not really a competitor to the USA and so on. That may be, but the company finds Eric Trump quite cool. He is involved in how he stands on the topic of Bitcoin and can contribute relevant expertise. And it can also be said that there has been active repurchasing here. So Metaplanet currently holds 3,200 Bitcoin. Well, now we will see how this whole development progresses. And to what extent Eric Trump will also contribute his support. If we take a look at the market now, yes, it's quite intense, with Trump making pro-crypto remarks, and we have the XRP lawsuit that was left alone. And all in all, Bitcoin is still not really taking off here, gaining traction. Why is that? It's relatively easy to explain, and you can see it here once again. We are tied to the traditional market. I have shown it in a video in the past. In detail, if you're interested, feel free to click in here. But you see, yes, a breakout from this downtrend, which is already positive. However, it also comes with significant correction phases, and even as of today. So you see how massive this line is here. So this 19,1980 plus or minus, it's so crazy how often this has been briefly undercut, how much work has been done on this line. Or now once again, fortunately, the rejection upwards. But as long as this doesn't change, and we're back to the topic of the private war, Trump against the Fed, as long as this doesn't change, we won't suddenly see this with Bitcoin either. See massive price jumps. And at this point, a huge thank you for your support, really strong. I noticed the topic Mika is interesting for you. If you say you have questions or anything like that, feel free to write to me in the comments. In any case, almost 2,500 views, 139 likes. So if you want to support my work and my hours of research today, just leave a free, simple, and quick like. And if you might be asking yourself, yes, handle is nice and kind, but what do you actually do? This is about crypto news. Honestly, fact-based, transparent, neutral, without hype, plus a daily trading setup. So basically everything you need. And now I can invite you, if you want to be one of the subscribers among the 20K, then feel free to leave a free subscription now, plus activate the bell so you don't miss any important information. And now we continue. Now we can also wait here for a moment because Bitcoin US dollar index, so for comparison, historically speaking, it was always the case that when the dollar weakens, as Bitcoin pumps. And if you take a look at it right now, you might notice, well, the dollar has already lost quite a bit here. It wasn't like there was an immediate pump again. So we are more in consolidation here with a slight increase again now. Let's wait and see. Trump also wants a weak dollar, so he has already managed to achieve that quite well. However, when you look at it with customers, there wasn't a big reaction. Initially, it also went down, which is rather unusual. But let's just keep an eye on what exactly happens here, whether the dollar continues to go down and whether Bitcoin can correspondingly continue to rise. Further look at the spot ETF. And here you can also see that we at least had a few positive days again. So, well, the 19th, rather thin, but yesterday was also fine. So don't be surprised. The data from the 21st, I don't have them yet because at the time when the video goes online, I will be on a plane. Therefore, as I said, this is just the current status. On Friday, we'll have to see what happens. But at least we have some positive figures here again. And you can also notice that from BlackRock, who else, there's quite a bit happening again. And thus, directly moving on to Ripple, because there is now a statement from Brad Garlinghouse about how it could be that XRP might pump. He sees two things for this, I don't know, so I'll also give my honest opinion on this, and you are welcome to write in the comments if you disagree. He talks about the spot ETFs, which could bring significant momentum. Now we must not forget, BlackRock has not submitted an application and has no interest in an XRP ETF, at least as of now. But BlackRock is indeed, that's why I always look at the ETF. It is the ETF that is by far the most successful. So now the question remains open. There are a lot of applications, but could the other asset custodians suddenly outperform in some way? Or is that rather unlikely? So one should definitely keep an eye on that. And, well, then he just talks about the topic of reserves here. Well, regarding the reserves, I personally say, I think it will take some time before anything happens, because until something like that gets through the Senate, through the committee, or whoever else, that takes time. So from that perspective, as I said, one can also say, yes, it may happen in the future, but I personally believe we are talking about years here. Before we get into the trading setup in detail, let's briefly touch on this. Why was there even a sale now? Well, it was quite clear that this lawsuit was officially dropped, but the market had already fully priced it in. So I say quite openly and honestly, I also thought that there would be significantly more happening with the price. I also thought in the first that several more Bitcoins would react to it, but they didn't. Now, of course, there's the big question, because all the XRP holders probably immediately hoped, hey, there's going to be a new all-time high. Well, we are quite far from that. And now one must not forget what I have already said in the past. There were many whales who stocked up. Then comes this pump, and what do? They realize profits. And that's why there was also the sell-off. Now, there is of course talk again that it could have been insider trading or something like that. Personally, I don't think so, because effectively, one could already relatively firmly assume that this lawsuit would be dropped sooner or later. And then some people were just smart and bought in. It's similar to saying, well, Bitcoin was at 78, 79K, fine. Maybe it will go even further down. But at least at the current time, it was the lowest value for now since the big pump in November. And then one could also say, yes, they knew that was the bottom. No, as I said, I don't believe it was insider trading. I highly doubt it. However, as I said, please don't forget, there are many players out there and they all want to make profits. And now, directly moving on to the trading setup, I use a lot of Max here. So, if you're looking for a cool exchange where you can start without KYC, feel free to check the description. There's a link there. You can sign up with my link and use it. And there's also a deposit bonus. So that means if you deposit $100, you get a $25 bonus. And if you deposit $500, you even get $80 directly into your futures, credited to your account. Now let's take another look at the positions which I still have open. Why? Sure, Cardano went down, and now you just have to wait. So yes, these trades are unusual, long-lived, but that's just how it is. So I will use DCA to lower the price again. This is not a risk where they currently stand, but they are simply not in the profit zone yet. Bitcoin is exactly the same. I'm also waiting there right now because I can imagine that hopefully some volatile movement might slowly start to happen. Let's take a quick look at Bitcoin in the daily view. Then you can say, well, there's a lot going on both up and down. Therefore, yes, we will now see where exactly the price is moving. We must not forget. On the weekend, the market makers are active and they can, well, if you look at this here, I could well imagine that we might move down into this volume area again. Because this is at least the most massive block that could be targeted. Even if we take another quick look at the weekly view here, you can see that the map is already quite empty. However, this here, well, I wouldn't say that all the momentum that went upwards here would be gone. But it is conceivable that this zone could be rounded. Around 81,050, at least it's not below the 80 threshold. However, if we go down here, well, the last point would be exactly at 80K. Now let's go directly to the chart. So I have still left it drawn in, and you can see here again, that was exactly the lowest point. Then it went up. Then there was another retest here. Then it continued upwards. Then you see, but there was another retest here, went up, down. And now we are moving almost exactly on our red line. So almost exactly in this resistance area. Yes? Well, and now it's time again for the market or even the news. What could happen in some form? So we have this threshold here at, let's say, around 84,107. That should be sustainably broken through so that we can get into this zone here. But there's still a long way to go. So that means we would first have to really surpass this area. But even there, we are still quite far. For example, away from the 90K. And look, there you see it again. It's really crazy how the whole thing is unfolding. I have intentionally left this downtrend drawn here, so that's why. If you don't want to believe me, just watch the previous video. And I had already drawn this downtrend here, and you can see here, this area was tested again on point. However, unfortunately, it went down again, so I'm leaving it drawn like this for now. Yes, it was initially a kind of sideways movement where you thought, okay, everything is safe again. But I'm still leaving the thing down here. The 68K could happen again. In the worst case, it could even go further somewhere around 64,460. A quick look at Ethereum, relatively unspectacular. At this point, in the heat map, you can't really see anything further. Well, we are still moving within this symmetrical triangle, sometimes up, sometimes down, but we are definitely in the lower zone here. Yes, it will be decided by what Bitcoin does, and Ethereum will follow suit. A quick look at Cardano, yes, you can clearly see that this is a classic sideways movement where liquidity has been beautifully fished out. However, if you look at it here, we are in a downtrend, right? That means lower highs and lower lows. And thus, in my opinion, it is very likely that this zone down here will definitely be tested again, or at least picked up first. And a quick look at the chart regarding this, you can see it here. I have marked this risk zone here, and it's just an up and down. And every time we move in this area, as I said, we have to wait and see. But certainly, if you are planning to open a position now, for example, you might consider placing a limit order here, because if such an increase could come again, of course, this is not investment advice. Then you can definitely take some profits in trading. Last look at XRP, and no, I don't want to take away the motivation, but we see almost nothing on the liquidation heat map except for this zone. And then we would be at around $2.21, give or take, which means the entire momentum here would be gone. But you can also see it's a complete downtrend. Then it emerged. So it was a typical pump and dump, if you will, nothing sustainable, unfortunately. And so therefore, I consider it very realistic that this zone down here will be targeted again. And for this, a quick look at the chart again. Yes, it's not typical here, but you see even after this pump, there was no opportunity to reclaim and surpass this high. No, it went directly down again here. And thus, I still believe that this 1.34 could theoretically fall. So, in the long term, not short term, but as I said, also here, yes, there was the sideways movement, everything great, everything super, but in the end, the pump came and you can just draw it. We are still in a downtrend here. That should be it for today. Feel free to write in the comments if you have any questions or suggestions, wishes, whatever. And otherwise, if you liked the video and want to support my hours of research, then feel free to do so and leave a free like. In conclusion, I can give you the tip to check out this video. There, I talk about Michael Saylor's prediction of $13 million per Bitcoin and why that is indeed quite possible. It's really crazy, but yes. I talk about it in detail. I would check it out if I were you. Otherwise, we'll see each other tomorrow for the next update. Until then, all the best. Bye.